Hi, this is Tim with Total CSR.
This is Tracy from Brown and Brown. I don't know if Wes is on or not.
Looks like I can see one other person at least signed on through the computer, maybe not in the audio, but that's
Okay.
okay if they just want to listen, no problem. But
Okay.
well, thank you for getting on. I appreciate you taking the time.
No, no problem. Thank you.
Sure. So let me share screen so you can see. And then wanted to ask you too, so were you planning to have me go through, or did you want me to do both commercial lines and personal lines, one or the other?
I mean, I'm more interested in personal lines because that's the department I'm in, but I think that we
Hmm.
do have an interest in both. Now, if you
Hmm.
do commercial lines as well, does that mean it's longer than 30 minutes or?
No, I can, yeah, no, I can keep it under 30 minutes. So I can,
Yeah,
yeah.
I would do both then, just for the sake of, because I'm going to be going back to my team, which includes commercial and personal, to,
Okay.
about what
Yeah.
I've experienced with it. So.
All righty. Sounds good. That is what will happen then. And all right. So to start off, let me give you, I'll just do a quick background so you know a little bit about the company, and then we can start on the training. So Total CSR, the founders also own a third generation insurance agency, and their father had sold his retail operation and MGA to Arthur J. Gallagher back in '99. And then they both went to work there and were able to buy the business back in '08. So as we've been growing for the past decade and hiring and training, bringing people on, having a lot of success, but we realized a couple of years ago, realized it was like, oh, there's still a piece of the puzzle that's missing. And so we were leveraging a few coverage schools like Hartford Insurance and National Alliance, but we continue to search for that solution for the practical how-to side of being a CSR and couldn't find it. And so then finally decided, okay, let's build this ourselves and see what we can do. So we ended up launching it last summer, and so we're about 10 months in now. And we're up to already, I think we're very close to 495 or 500 agencies. So I'm growing pretty quickly, and we do have, so I'd mentioned both the programs, commercial and personal lines, and then we also have two new courses coming out, one in July and one in December, which I will mention a little bit later at the end. But from there, the first screen to go to is going to be my agency. This is our admin page. So this is going to be information for the agency manager or owner. We can see users who are enrolled in the courses, how they're progressing through each of the modules as well. And then down here, adding a new user is real easy. It's just first name, last name, and email address. Hit the enroll user button. So they'll get an automated email sent to them with login credentials so they can access our site and go to My CSR, which is our main training page. And so there we are. We are on the commercial tab of our main education page. And now you can see here, we've got 7 modules of training. We start off with the general education, and that's going to be the Accord 125, some certificates of insurance, some other basics. And then after that, we'll go into the 6 main lines of coverage. So starting with workers' comp, and then GL, auto, excess and umbrella, property, and inland marine. And so I like to go through the workers' comp. We'll go ahead and launch that to begin and get up to the top. Our course index is over here on the left-hand side, so you can see all the sections that we're going to have throughout our course. And I'm at the top right now, though, so with where we do our introduction, which is a 2-minute intro video. We do it to begin each module, and you won't be able to hear it, just see it right now. And it's just going to be the basics, make sure we understand what that line of coverage is, what it does, its importance. And then aside from that, we'll talk about the history a little bit. So how we have, how the workplace has evolved to the system that we have today for workers' comp. Also a couple different claim scenarios. And then also our goal is we want to make a connection with our users. So really the significance of the CSR role, connecting that to the good we do every day in our clients' lives. From there, we'll go into some coverage info. We're going to talk about compulsory versus elective, also monopolistic states. We have an interactive state map here. So you can see, and our agency is in California, so if we click on that, we can see it's compulsory and non-monopolistic. So, okay, got it. After that, we'll jump into the coverage form, take a look at parts 1, 2, and 3, review them. Also the limits of liability, we're going to review. Then some common endorsements we need to know, like waiver of subrogation, is it a blanket or scheduled waiver, and also some common exclusions too. So that's going to be all for the coverage part though. It's intentionally brief. We just want to do a summary of it up front so that we can then from there jump into this, which is kind of our main focus, going to be the CSR support cycle. And so we've determined as a CSR, we have to know how to do these 8 major steps. So that's obtain submission info, complete the accord forms, send the submission, review quotes, present the proposal, bind the coverage, check the policy, and support the insured. So we're going to spend the rest of the sections going into those 8 steps, covering those in pretty good depth. To begin, we'll start off with some payroll information and figures. And now, of course, there's a lot of insurance terminology. We're going to have, because of that, we're going to have flashcards in all of our modules. And we can say, well, what's exposure mean? What's remuneration? What's class code? Whenever we do that, we'll always have a drag and drop activity with the definitions. So it really helps us to understand the terms and remember them. Then we want to talk about straight time wage. What is it? How do we calculate the straight time wage? And then do an example of computing that straight time wage on our own. Next, we'll circle back to remuneration and payroll. What does remuneration include and what does it exclude? Also, and then we do a knowledge check on that. So you can see dismissal or severance payments. So I think that's excluded. Payment by an employer for group insurance, I think that's excluded. So we work our way through. You can kind of see one of the knowledge checks we do. We'll talk about next is going to be independent contractors and employees. How do we define each one? How do we classify them too? And then from there, we want to go into our loss run section. And first off, we'll take a look at a loss run. Then we want to talk about currently valued and what that means. And then we'll move into what is going to be our first user tutorial. So we've generated a loss run with all these green arrows on it. And then we can navigate our way through all of them and get a good feel for the sections. So like there's evaluation date, the claim number, the date of injury, the cause, et cetera. And again, work our way through every part of it. And then the next part will be our first quiz. So we got 22 questions, reviewing loss runs and answering the questions, also analyzing different ones like this right here. We do require 75% or better on our quizzes. And so if we don't hit that first time, it's okay. Just take it again or review the section a little bit more. No problem with that. But then we can move on and go to our accord forms. So the Accord 130, we're going to do another interactive tutorial on that, same as that last one, so we can, hit on the agency information there, the locations, confirmed states, contact information, etc. All 4 pages of the Accord 130. And then after that, we can go to our scenario section. So this is, we're going to spend the most time within our scenarios. It's deep dive. First off, we have attachments that we use each time that we're going to reference. So we have some additional information from insureds. There's also payroll figures and the class codes, the supplemental application, and then a couple different loss runs as well. What we do is hit the start button. So we, first time we'll go into a blank Accord 130, fill out all the appropriate information, hit submit when we're done. Our goal is to get 95% of it accurate. First time we're not. So when we hit that red X, you can see it jumps back in. It shows which fields are blank or need to be corrected but have the wrong answer, and so that we can then get it cleaned up and get that done. That's one scenario that we have. We're going to do that 4 more times. Each time we're going to use a different attachment, and so we're going to have different reports, different information. It's a ton of repetition for us as a user. Real world examples, and very, very helpful as we are practicing and training it. From there, we'll go into sending our submission out, which 4 documents do we include in a submission and why, and then we want to go to reviewing our quotes section, and we'll start off with some more flashcards, and then move down and take a look at a work comp quote. We color code them, we highlight them, and then we explain each section as well and any math that might be involved. And now we'll do our second quiz here. So we got 15 questions, and obviously we're going to be reviewing quotes as we answer those questions. But when we pass that, we can go to presenting our proposal. What do we want to include in that and why? Then we can move ahead to binding coverage. So what's the bind order look like? What attachments are in the bind order? And also maybe anything else that we need to send out to the carrier. Then we'll, from there, also policy checking. What is policy checking? What's it and why is it important? Which documents are we using for policy checking? Then we have another exercise. We're going to practice policy checking on our own within that PDF document. And when that's done, we'll go to supporting our insured. And first thing, it's monthly payroll reports. Want to be sure that we know how to complete the forms like this one. Also, the claims process. Be sure we understand all 6 steps of the claim submission process. So when a claim happens, we can certainly help our clients with that. And then now we want to take a look at final audits. What is a final audit? Why do we do them? Here's what the documents look like for a final audit as well. Then we have types of final audits, voluntary and physical, and also possible audit situations that might come up, and some common audit mistakes we need to watch out for as well. And then our last section is so E&O prevention for that line of coverage and exposure. How do we protect our agency? What do we want to be watching out for in that regard? The very last step is going to be a course final exam. It's going to cover everything, every section we went through. And we got to get a 90% or better on our final exam, so even a little bit higher threshold than the quizzes. So there's workers' comp, gives you a good idea of our format and our activities, etc. All 7 modules on the commercial side. It's going to take timeline 60 to 70 hours, depending on the speed of the user. After that, we do have some follow-up training. So we have 6 weeks of it, but it's only 1 hour per week, or 1 hour per week. And what we're going to do is reintroduce the material, much smaller bite-sized chunks now. The goal is to really increase our retention, get it into our long-term memory. But then we're done. Congratulations on finishing. We get a TCSR designation, which we can put in our signature business card. And we can also come back and review any one of the sections if necessary to refresh and to tune up. So from there, let's move across. We'll move over to the personal lines and review that one. Yeah.
What is soft skills? What is that?
So yeah, we got 5 more e-modules here. This is going to be for
okay. I see what it is. Yep, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are each about 2 hours.
Yep.
So 10 hours in total to work through those. More for newer employees probably,
right?
Or
okay.
Less experience.
Mm-hmm.
So personal lines, and we have 8 modules, starting with the introduction, then moving into the homeowners, auto, dwelling, umbrella, personal articles, earthquake, and flood. We also have the follow-up training on the homeowner side, on the personal line side as well.
Okay.
So it's going to be 6 weeks again, 1 hour per week. Upon completion of all of this, we do give the TCSR designation. So so you can potentially learn or earn 2 designations if complete both of the courses. And then let's go ahead and launch the homeowners so we can review it. We'll get up to the top again. Again, course index on the left-hand side. A lot of it's going to look familiar, or should be to you, but starting off with that 2-minute introductory video. After the introductory video, we will go into the coverages overview section. So yeah, we're going to take a look at the coverage form, section 1 and section 2. We'll also, you see, we're going to have more flashcards again. That's like I said, a part of every module. But then who has provided coverage and what are the qualifications for coverage? What's going to impact our coverage? The 4 different causal losses, common endorsements and exclusions, again, that we need to be aware of for homeowners, deductibles, examples and what they are. And then first quiz is going to be within this, or to wrap up the coverage section, 10-question quiz. And from there, then we're going to jump into the CSR support cycle on the personal line side. So it should look familiar. 2 of the steps are different. That's going to be step 2 and 3. So instead of completing accord forms, we complete the comparative rater. and then instead of sending submission out, we have our online quoting process. So
Right.
those two steps are different. The other steps are the same, but we still tailor it to the homeowner's coverage. So each time it's going to be a little bit different in training that section. So important to see, well, I'm going to move down to our comparative rater section, and because that's where our scenarios are, which are always our deep dive. So I'll show you the attachments that we're going to be referencing, information from homeowners information from our insured, the quote request, the RCE report, the hazard summary, and also the clue report. And then what we do is we hit the start button, go ahead and takes us in. Now we're going to have to go to each tab, complete the necessary information from the appropriate attachments all the way through. Then when we're done, we're going to hit submit to the carriers. Again, we want to get 95% correct. First time we're not, so we'll hit the red X, and it highlights the tabs and the fields that are still blank or incorrect and need to be fixed by us. So you can see how we work our way through and get it done. Notice again, there's 5 scenarios. Every one of our modules, we're going to have 5 scenarios that we have to go through. So always the focus on a lot of repetition and practice for us as the user. But then from there, we'll be moving on to choosing the right carrier amongst all of our proposed quotes, looking at the premiums, the coverage limits, the example of the quotes that the system will present for us, along with our fictitious insurance companies. And then we continue on with the process. So completing the online quoting, reviewing quotes. So in this section, we'll take a look at an actual homeowner's quote. We color code them and highlight them again, and then explain each section. We're going to do another interactive tutorial with this homeowner's quote that we're looking at. However, this one's going to be 5 pages long, and we have to move our way through all 5 pages of it. But then after that, we will take a quotes reviewing quiz, 20 questions on that. And when we pass it, we can then move to presenting our proposal, binding our coverage with the insurance company, policy checking, different parts of a homeowner's insurance policy checking. Spend a good chunk of time here looking at the declarations page and the insuring agreement, definitions and conditions, and working our way through there to supporting our insured with the claims process again, and specifically on the homeowner side, some common claims we'll run into, like wind and hail, water damage, fire and lightning. Next is going to be policy changes, requests and endorsements. So the general guidelines to consider each time we initiate a change. Processing a binder, cancellation. So when a policy cancels, the 4 main reasons why that happens. And then there we go. We're all done again. We'll at the very end take a course final exam. 30 questions. Still have to pass these with that 90% or better. So that should give you guys a good feel for what we do here, what the training covers. Have you seen? Yeah, go ahead.
When they do each module, is it timed, or can they pause it and go back to it, or?
No, it's not timed. It's all self-paced, self-timing. Just do it at your own speed.
So they'll be able to sign in and pause and then sign out, go back in later and continue on?
Yeah. And the program actually saves their progress as they're going through it, so they're not going to, whatever they completed, they're not going to lose.
Okay. And if we choose the bundle package for, like, say 3 users, they would have access to the soft skills and commercial and personal lines.
Yeah, they can do whichever one they want. Any one of your users has
so
access
if we
to
did
all the
now let me think. Is the agency one, the very first one, that's the bundle, right? Or no?
Well, you can bundle either agency, premier, or enterprise. All
yes,
that's different is the number of users.
Okay, so it just means that at any one time, only 3 active users can be in there. Once those 3 active users are done, 3 more active users can go in, correct?
Yeah, that's what it means. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Did you guys hear about us through Auto Owners? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because they have a 25% discount. So this is the retail price for the month of May too, by the way, only. But anyway, so your price would for the bundle, commercial and personal, would not be $34.90. It would actually be $26.25. and like you said, one admin to 3 users, just 3 simultaneously. You're not limited to 3. And the other incentive is too, I mentioned you would get, if you buy the bundle package, you get the 2 new courses that roll out for free. That's going to be our sales course July 1st and then our benefits course on December 1st. Those are included at your $26.25 price.
But that's only if we do it by May 30th or something, right?
That's right. Yeah, just got to do that with during May. Well, actually, you could do it in June too. You just won't get the 25% off unless you buy in May.
Okay, so 25% is if you buy in May, but if you sign up in June, you get the July and December thing for no additional.
Yeah, you could still buy the bundle package in June, which is going to get you the 2 additional courses. You're just not going to have that $26.25 price.
And you have the choice of doing. Oh, okay, so you do save money if you do it annually versus monthly.
Yep, you save 33%. Yeah.
Okay.
You can pay monthly. It's just going to be a little more over 12 months.
Okay.
All right.
Now, if my manager wants to, because we are actually, well, we still have a little bit of time in the month. How quickly, or let's say I talk to him and he wants to watch, get the demo himself before he commits to pay. Is there time to schedule another one before the end of the month? Like how much lead time do you need to schedule demos?
It's easier. What I can do is I'll just send you a link to this demo that we just went through here, and he can just listen into the whole thing.
Cool.
At his convenience.
Okay, that'd be great. All right, that's what I needed to see and understand. I really appreciate that. So if you can, do you have my email then, or?
I do. I have it, and I'll send it to you in 10 or 15 minutes.
Great. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome. Take care.
Bye-bye.